Hi everyone, bonjour à tous and welcome to Impact Zone Surf Podcast. Special episode today in English because we receive a very special guest.
And yes, Roman, a very, very special guest because he's not only a surfer, he's one of the most iconic surfer for a generation. He has been covering like several decades of surfing, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. He's still surfing. He has been the 99 world champ, star of the surf movie Jack McCoy / Billabong movies, The Green Iguana, Sick Joy, and the documentary You Understand It Well. We receive today Mr. Marco Chilupo.
Hello everyone. Sorry, I'm not speaking French. I've been here probably over 20 times, and I should speak French. I'm a bit lazy, I guess. But anyway, it's great to be back in France. It's been probably 6 years, and it's really good to be back. I had a little surf this morning with the kids, and just over here doing some promotions for Billabong. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Good to be back.
Yeah, you're here for to promote your line with Billabong. You've developed a garment line. Can you talk to us about that?
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm doing a collab with Billabong, and it's funny that it's the first time. I've been with Billabong for over 40 years. That's 40, which is amazing. And they approached me wanting to do, or not approached me because I'm with them anyway. So that's the wrong way to put it. Yeah, no, my boss said we want to do the Raging Bull and line, and I was like, let's do it. And so the designers, got in there and started, doing it like a 90s kind of stuff, how the clothes were back then. And I think it's coming back in fashion, the 90s, kind of clothes. And so it's good timing. And I went and checked out the designs, and I said, perfect. And now it's coming out. It's in stores now, just coming out. And recently I was in America doing the same thing, just visiting some surf shops. And we made a good movie that came out with the new Raging Bull qu'Occy series clothes. And I was lucky enough to go back to Fiji. Been a long time, and we done Fiji and we done Bells, and so there's a clip, and so I'm just here promoting, that, and the line looks great, so hopefully it sells well.
Did you add a lot of input into the design?
Yeah. So I went in there and looked, and just on the computer, and kind of looked which way they were going, and it was a lot of kind of. It was a lot of 90s influence, like I say, some kind of roses and bulls and just kind of cool colorways and all stuff that is kind of my favorite, and I hope everyone likes it. So they knew what I liked because I don't know, all you got to do really is look at the magazines back then and even the movies. So we kind of paid homage, to Jack McCoy, and sadly, we lost him, the last week, which was sad, and so we kind of made the movie or the clip kind of paid homage to Jack, used the same kind of music, and the boys kind of edited it. Is that the right way to say? I can't even speak English, let alone French. Yeah, they edited it kind of like Jack would have, and paying homage to Jack.
Yeah, the music was a tribute to the Green Iguana.
It really felt like the Green Iguana
like a
movie.
Tribute to Jack, yeah. So, we while we were making it, he passed away, so it was kind of weird timing. But anyway, we're gonna hopefully do something for Jack. When I get home, we're gonna spread his ashes, but more importantly, kind of this time, for Jack, just wanted to show his movies, and I done the documentary tour with him last year, so I got to spend time with him. We showed the documentary right up and down the Australian coast, the East Coast. We even done Western Australia, where I was made my comeback with Jack, you know, and he filmed it. And so we went and showed the movie over there and down in Margaret River where he used to live, you know, in Perth. And we'd done the whole East Coast. So it was good to, and we were showing it on the big screen, you know, because back then it was all on video, you know, and so we went and we every theatre, every cinema was sold out, and it was good to spend time with Jack, you know, like, so I spent a good 2 months with him doing that. And then the last one he was doing was Blue Horizon, you know, with Andy Irons, and Dave Rustovich was going on tour with him. Jack was getting a bit unwell by that stage, and he has been unwell for the last few years, but he finished the tour, and then, you know, I talked to him and he was like, I don't know how long I've got left, and I didn't want to hear that. And then when the tour finished, he got home, and, you know, so he passed away peacefully at home, which was in a farm on the mid central coast of Australia, you know, so he was at peace there and where he loved to be. So he still wanted to do the Green Iguana and Bunyip Dreaming, so I was going to go back on tour with him again.
No way.
Know? It kept him alive, you know. He just loved being on stage, talking about his movie, talking about how he made his movies, and everyone loved it. So what I want to do is get a few of the boys together and go show the Green Iguana and Bunyip Dreaming and dedicate it to Jack's life, and let everyone come out and pay their respects that way. I think it'd be pretty cool.
And I think it's a really good idea because it's such a masterpiece into the surf culture, like the surfing, like the way it's filmed, the waves themselves as well, and the surfers. Like it's a whole vibe.
No one made movies like Jack because he just put the really good music to it, the way he edited it, and the way, you know, his water photography was like no one's, and
plasman in the water too. Huh?
He was crazy good waterman, and just the whole feel of his movies. No one ever really did it like that, so that's going to be missed. But the best thing about you know Jack is, you know, now he's gone. You know, it's sad, but you can remember him. Just got to chuck one of his movies on. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then you're back there and you're with him. So pretty cool.
And how was it working with him? Like as you mentioned, like he has like an angle, a vision that is
he had a vision,
precise.
And he was a perfectionist, you know. But you had to work with Jack, like, you know, because he was in the water, and we always were surfing pumping waves, like, you know, amazing waves, but he wanted you to always, you know, take off near him so he can get the shot, you know. If it's barreling, you know, he's in the spot there, you know. Sometimes if you're surfing a point break, you know, you can paddle way up and Jack's not going to get the shot if he's in the water. And I remember a few guys that used to not, you know, sit there and work with him, and then he'd get angry and he wouldn't be invited back. You know, Jack was, you know, like, but he taught me how to work with a water photographer, and it's something really, you know, there was an art form to what he done, and also an art form to surfing with Jack in the water. So you never paddle too far away from him and try and line up, you know, the best shot possible. Always kind of looking down the line to see where Jack is, you know, and if you're too far away, you know, obviously you don't get the shot. And, you know, he'll tell you, you know, what lens he's using, if he's using some kind of, you know, fisheye, and, you know, you got to be real close, or if it's 30 mil. I'm not an expert at cameras, but he'll tell you what kind of distance, you know, he wanted you at, you know, and you have to work with that. But yeah, he was perfectionist, and I love working with him. He was so fun. Yeah.
You say like he was probably the guy who got the biggest influence on your career until today.
Definitely. You know, I owe a lot to Jack, because when I made my comeback, they sent me Billabong, and, you know, the founder of Billabong, Gordon Merchant, said, I'm going to send you over to where Jack lives, and not quite Margaret River, but it's in between kind of Dunsborough. It's out in the bush near kind of Margaret River, but more near Yallingup. And so when I stayed with them, I just ate really good food, and I ran, and Jack had me on a good program, and he was filming me. It was the start. It's in the documentary a couple times when I'm quite big and overweight, and kind of trying to surf, and there was good little bits, and then I'd kind of sink or fall off, dig my rail, and but he filmed the progression of me coming back, and then we had the Billabong challenges that he done, and we went up in Western Australia also, but way up north in the desert, and it was Jack filming that, and it was kind of Jack's idea, and Rabbit Bartholomew was a contest director, and we had the best surfers in the world came. Kelly Slater, Rob Machado, Kalani Rob.
Yeah, newcomers too.
Yeah, Shane Dorian, they all came. Even Johnny Boy Gomes from Hawaii came to one, and we this is when the contest back in the day didn't have waiting periods. We were on, if it was a contest in Lacanau, it'd be start on Thursday, finish on Sunday, no matter what the waves were like,
Yeah.
So often, we were surfing, not great waves, and same in Japan, same in America. Kind of starts on Thursday, finishes Sunday, no matter what, you were running every day. So often...
Every day, every tide.
Yeah. So often, like you're surfing some pretty marginal conditions, but Jack's idea and Rabbit's idea was, let's get, 8 guys, best surfers in the world, go up to the desert, have a 2-week waiting period, and we're going to get it pumping. And we did. We got it pumping, made the video. The video was all time. And all of a sudden, Rabbit started working with, back then was the ASP, which was before WSL, and Rabbit sold the idea to the ASP board and sold it to, not so much sold it, but talked them into, let's do this, let's change the tour, let's go to Fiji instead of
Lacanau.
Well, I don't want to talk bad about Lacanau because I won the contest in Lacanau.
Yeah, true.
And Lacanau was good to me.
Biarritz, let's say Biarritz in August.
Yeah. So, or America, let's not have a CT at Huntington, let's do it in Tahiti instead.
The We Dream Tour.
Yeah. And then so that's the way the tour changed, put Jay Bay on the tour and everywhere, and let's do 2-week waiting periods. And that's the tour changed after us doing the Billabong Challenge.
Okay.
And so you decided to come back before the tour changed or after the tour changed?
No, it was after it changed. So that happened. I lost all my weight when I was training with Jack, and then we done the Billabong Challenge. I was fit by then again, but and then we still done like Green Iguana, Bunyip Dreaming, and then even the documentary. I didn't come back till after that.
95 you came back.
Yeah, 96. Yeah, so like that. And by the time I came back, it was the Dream Tour. Yeah, so they changed it everywhere, had 2-week waiting periods. We were going the perfect waves. And that's kind of what made me want to come back. I mean, I definitely had unfinished business. My first time on tour, I think I got 3rd place twice, and then top 5 for, a few years. And then I split. I ran back home. At the time, I think I was rated 9th in the world, but I somehow just, I wanted to go home. That's another story, but yeah, so when I came back, it was a dream tour. One reason why I did leave was, like I was just talking about, there was a contest every weekend, starting Thursday, finishing Sunday. A lot of parties, actually. Every weekend we followed summer. In France, we were here in summer. In America, we were there in summer. So everywhere was party. It was party time. Everyone's off
and
school.
everywhere it was the biggest party of the year. Everywhere,
yeah. And I had a lot of success. So I had a lot of celebrating to do. But you can't celebrate like that forever because, it catches up to you. And so I went home and I really kind of chilled out because it was a fast life, that one. Every weekend having a contest. So every single Monday you were packing your bags, going to a different country. It was hectic.
How many contests was it, like a year?
It was like 23 contests.
Oh, yeah. So that's a lot.
A lot. So you're pretty much on tour all year. So I burnt out. Let's just say I burnt out. And then, but when I made the comeback with Jack, if it wasn't for Jack, I wouldn't have got fit again. I wouldn't have, and then he put me in a very good light, in the movies. And then my comeback was accepted. And then, my world title came about a year after that. So if it wasn't for Jack, I really don't think my life would be the same.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And to come back to the little promo, like let's say surfing clip you did recently in Tavara and Bells Beach. Bells Beach is pretty obvious that you done a part there, but for the tribute, how come you didn't go to O'Ccy's Left?
Oh, that's a very good question. Well, we were going to go to Sumba. I have not been back since when I was there with Jack. But
oh, really?
No, I haven't, because now there's a big resort there. Yeah. And well, it was a little bit political. You like Fiji, used to be. Nihi, which is O'Ccy's Left, is a private wave for the people that stay in the resort. Like, like a fair few resorts around the world still are. But I'm thinking the public wants to kind of surf it now, and they want to make it everyone can surf there. So, and I'm not either way. I think, the ocean, that's a political thing I don't really want to get into, but I think it's good to have private, places where the older crew can go to and they don't have to fight for waves with the younger crew. That's kind of why they're building wave pools now, so you can book the wave pool out for a whole day and just the older guys do it, so they don't have to compete against the young ones, which are tough to get waves off. So I think private waves are still cool. There's a lot of waves around the world. O'Ccy's Left is definitely a good one, but there's heaps of good waves around the world. There's thousands, like hundreds of thousands probably. So I don't mind. But they were trying to make it public, so we weren't going to go do a video there. So we changed to Fiji, and which was fine because Fiji's nice and close to home. Yeah. And we got a good swell.
And a special way for you too. You won in
special
Fiji,
way for me, yeah. I won there at Cloudbreak back in 1999. Yeah. So to go back there was great. I hadn't been back to Namotu.
Since your victory?
Since my victory. And I went back there. We stayed at Namotu and some of the same staff were there. It was so cool to see everyone again, all the Fijians. Really nice people, like some of the nicest people in the world. They are, and it was so comfortable there and, made me feel comfortable surfing. It was the waves were pretty big, and I'm getting older now. So it was a bit sketchy, but I felt like I went all right. And and then obviously we had to go to Bells. So we done all that in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We got lucky. We said, because we couldn't go to Sumba, and then we which I still really want to go back to. I'll get a chance hopefully one of these years, but to Nihi, but but to go to Namotu, it was epic. And we scored a good swell, and then we came back. We couldn't go to Bells because the contest was on. So we went to Fiji first, and we wanted to go to Bells first, but we couldn't because the contest was on. And so we done Fiji, and then as soon as we got back, we're like, we have to go to Bells. It has to be done. The O'Ccy range is coming out soon. And all of a sudden, we had an 8 to 10 foot swell hit Bells, and we went. And I was like, we got really lucky, So we made that video in less than a few weeks. maybe a month. You know, they spent a week on editing it. And
how many sessions do you?
Eh?
How many sessions?
Fiji, I had only like 3 surfs. Yeah,
really
to make that.
So you've been pretty productive.
Yeah, productive, and then and Belle's the same, about 3 surfs. Yeah. So we did it. I'd really like to spend more time. You know, I know guys spend a whole year making a movie, you know, and doing lots of surfs, and I could have probably been surfing better, but I didn't have much time.
Yeah.
But I was just stoked that they were filming me again, because I haven't been filmed for so long, and I still feel like I'm surfing good. And often, you know, you're surfing good and you look back to the beach, there's no one filming.
Hey, do you get my wave? Do you get my wave?
I don't have any filmers. And, you know, on the Gold Coast, you know, we've got like Shagger, and there's some good filmers that I could get the odd clip from, but not a really true, you know, like let's make a movie kind of thing. So when Billabong wanted to do that, and even though it's a short movie, but I think it turned out really well, and I'd love to, you know, do a longer one, and, you know, maybe do it with my son. You know, Jay's surfing really well. So yeah, Jay was supposed to come to, Jay still went to Sumba and I told them, I said, listen, like, Jay's going anyway, because he's got a mate that had booked a place there, and Jay said, Dad, I'm going anyway. And I'm like, oh, but we changed, you know. We're going to Fiji now. He's like, oh, yeah, I still got to go. My mate already booked the place. And I wanted to do something funny. I wanted to, you know, to ring Jay, just going, Jay, where are you? And he's like, I thought we were going to Sumba, to Occy's left. And I'm like, no, we're in Fiji, but we didn't do it. Anyway, but all I'm trying to say is I'd love to do maybe do a longer movie. Maybe with father-son thing, you know, like me and Jay, maybe Shane Dorian and Jackson, you know, like there's a few father-sons that are writing for Billabong, Pete Mendia and Kepa. Yeah, like we'd probably be pretty cool. We could all go on a boat trip or something together, or, you know, just throwing it out there.
So Billabong executive, if you hear us, maybe there's a movie. There's a movie idea behind the making right now.
Right now, yeah.
So yeah, that clip and those trips in Belgium, Fiji just led to this promotional clip, and this clip and your collection led you to France.
Yes.
You have a long story with France. You just said in introduction that you probably came here 20 times.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time, and what's the first souvenir that you have from France?
I do. I remember my first time going to Lacanau for the contest, and I was probably 17 years old, I think, quite young. I remember meeting, was it Terry Fernandez, the natural footer, yeah?
Yeah, from Lacanau, local from Lacanau, yeah.
So he was the main local. There wasn't many surfers there. I remember John Michel was there, but not many surfers at all. The contest, we had really good waves. And I'm not too sure if it was the first year or it could have been the second year. It could have been, I think I did have the win at Lacanau, but the second year, the main thing that sticks out to me was Maurice Cole. I knew he was living in Hossegor, and he drove up to Lacanau. The contest had finished. And he's like, oh, you got to come down to Hossegor where I am. Like, the waves are unbelievable. And I was like, let's go. I said, we had some time before the next contest. So we changed my ticket and I went down to Hossegor with Morris. I think even back then Shane Herring came, Shane Powell came too. We all changed our tickets. We drove to Hossegor, and I remember pulling up to Gravier, or actually I think we pulled up at Asteno first. And man, the waves are 6 to 8 feet, and absolutely some of the best waves I've ever seen beach break. And there was no one out, the whole beach. We checked Le Gravier, and it was pumping, no one out. And even we went to Cabreton, I think, no one. Morris is like, this is how it is. He's like, I need to find people to surf with. And like there was a few older guys that were surfing down here, locals. I can't mention their names. I mean, Morris could, but pretty much what I'm trying to say is Morris is like, there's no one to surf with here. There's no one. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm looking at these waves. I know things have changed now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is
So it was around 83,
this
84?
is 80, yeah. 84, 85 maybe even, 83. Yeah, so early days.
Yeah,
but so, you know, that just shows how new surfing is to France. I mean, you know, like it's, you know, in Australia, you know, it was like 100 years ago that the Duke came out and taught surfing in Australia. So, and 80, you know, so let's say 85, how long ago is that? Like 30, 40 years ago. So pretty new, like that's, you know, and it's impressive to see how many good surfers have come out in that short of amount of time, you know, like, yeah. So, yeah, it's, I'm stoked that I was in that generation, you know, to see that, you know, and to be able to surf here with no one out. And, you know, it's, yeah, so it's a great, I feel very lucky.
Yeah, those stories sound like myth, no, for us, or legends,
yeah,
because
like,
never
knew that. Right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at that time, like plenty, as you mentioned, like several Australian people moved to France and were amazed and stayed there. Like
they stayed.
Yeah, were you attracted by their choice?
Definitely. I was, you know, Morris's whole act, like he was shaping where he was living, the restaurants, just the whole vibe of Hossegor back then was so attractive. Like, you know, Francois Payot, we were hanging out with him. He was a classic, you know, and just their partners at the time, you know, Will Morris brought his Australian wife over, Annie. But I remember Francois' partner at the time, she was a classic, and we just had so many memorable times at that, you know, at that time. And I was attracted to move here for sure, but, you know, I was busy on tour, but yeah, and I was young. I mean, it's hard to move somewhere when you're that young. You know?
You still want to move everywhere.
Yeah, you want to move. You just want to move, keep moving, yeah.
And now we read that when you first came to Lacanau, you were the absolute star coming there. Like from any other people on the tour, like all the lights were on you in Lacanau.
Yeah, well, they were. It was, I mean, probably not as much as Tom Curran. I mean, you know, Tom Curran back then had a French wife, right? Pascal. And
Pascal, yeah.
Yeah, and so Tom was already speaking French and he was the man, you know. And so I was a little bit behind him, but, you know, but obviously there was a lot of attention on me because I came straight out of school, qualified first year, and then I was in the top five. I mean, Curran was kind of winning the world titles then, but I was battling with him, keeping him honest. But yeah, so I had a lot of attention on me for sure. It was fun. It was just super fun. Like, I mean, I think, I mean, back then I was 17, I was single. The French girls were amazingly beautiful. And I had a couple of really nice girlfriends from here and from that I met in Lacanau. And even from then, I think, you know, they came down to Hossegor with me. But yeah, I met some girls in Hossegor too. But I'm just trying to say that it was awfully fun. Yeah.
So what was the best part? Waves, food, girls?
Yeah, well, just everything mixed, you know, like the surfs we had, you know, the long days, you know, I mean, because, you know, back then we used to kind of come in the middle of summer. So it was holiday season, yeah, you know, here. So not a lot of people in the water, but a lot of people on land. Yeah. And it was, you know, it's crazy surfing, especially, you know, Lacanau and from just down the beach from Lacanau, everyone was in the nude, not even wearing, and in some beaches in Hossegor was the same, so that was strange. But you know, just coming in from surfing all day and then eating food and then going out at night, you know, the French knew how to have fun, and the Australians were all about fun too, so it was a good mix.
And Rock Food opened around 95, which was a game changer for the French leg of the tour, no?
It was. Yeah, there were some big nights go down there. You know, like Roland was always put on the best nights. took care of us. Security was great. Parties were big. I remember used to get up and sing songs with Brian. I think this English guy, I think his name was Brian, but an amazing guitarist. It was a long time ago. And I think he used to, that's where I was famous for singing Black Magic Woman, because he would play that song, and I used to always get up and sing it with him, and then that kind of stuck with me. So if it was ever a karaoke night or a band playing, and my mates would be like, Black Magic Woman, so I always had to do it. So many special times at the Rock Food. Yeah, that whole area. Yeah, very from what I can remember anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, because like as you mentioned, that was a lot of party time, so a lot of obscure decisions as well.
Definitely, yeah.
And we heard about a story about the buried boards.
Yeah, the boards, yeah.
Can you tell us about that? Or you don't want to talk about that?
No, I don't mind. I mean, I was going pretty hard. I'm trying to say it was after the contest, and we just stayed here. I used to stay for a long time. And
what year was it, sorry?
I don't know. I mean...
End of the 80s or in the 90s already?
Early 90s, maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was kind of frustrated. You know, the contests were not my priority. It was more the parties, which was not great. And so I was partying way too much, and I barely remember the time, but it was definitely a wild time in my life, and I was a bit unsettled, and I got the news that Rabbit Bartholomew had a big skin cancer on his back, and they didn't know if he was going to be okay, and that disrupted my mind, and I'm like, I think he was all right. I think in my mind I made it that it was really bad, and he was such a good friend, and he really helped me a lot, that I wanted to get back to Australia. So I don't think anyone was happy with me leaving at that point, and I wanted to run away. And I think I was even thinking that I was going to swim to Australia.
That's
actually.
what we read in your book, yeah. With a stick.
I think in my state, I think I was kind of that high on life where I thought I was strong enough to swim to Australia. So I wasn't, when you hear that, you go, well, wow, he's not right. And I wasn't right, really, in my own mind. I wasn't right. But when I think I kind of thought I was going to swim, but then I think I was booking a flight or trying to book a flight, and I was like, I don't think Morris was happy with me. I think I was staying with Morris. Morris wanted me to snap out of it. And I think one night was really drunk, and I'm like, stuff this, I'm going home. And I went down and buried my board bag on the beach, because I'm like, I'm coming back. I think there was another contest or something, or I was just like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking I was going to come back because I loved it here so much. So I dug a big hole and buried my whole board bag under the sand. And then
in the middle of the night?
In the middle of the night, yeah. And then I barely, it's very, very kind of, I can't really remember it that good, but I think I booked a ticket, but I couldn't book it straight away. Oh, someone booked it for me, but I remember I went down to Zaraus and stayed with Marianne and Indigo from Pukas, and they were really cool. They settled me down. That's when I kind of settled down a bit. They kind of knew that I was kind of not right, and there was such good people that, I really gelled with them, and they were really nice to me. So I eventually settled down, and while I think it must have been while I was staying with them, the beach sweeper that sweeps the beach, the tractor, ran over my boards, and then they were like, what did you do? And I was like, that's when people are like, wow, he's not right. And then, but by that time I kind of settled down. I was staying in Zaraus. I remember Marianne took me and bought me some new shoes, some really nice boots, and that's what I remember of it. And then my ticket was finally booked and I went home and went back to my mum and I settled right down again. And I think I didn't compete for the rest of the year. I just settled down. And
that was the turning point of your burnout, kind of.
That was kind of my burnout, yeah. But it's a bit confusing because there was about 2 times where I kind of burn out. The first time I just left. That's when I was in the US Open, and I was okay then. I just got homesick, and it was funny because everyone was going to France that night after the contest, and I was competing, and I was trying to get knocked out because I wanted to. We had a team. Derek Heim was coaching a few of us from Billabong, and then I didn't like that, and I was just burnt out then, not just from competing too much, and I went home, but it was the second time around in Europe where that's when I buried my boards. It started up in Portugal, actually. It was when Mark Sainsbury passed away, sanger, and we all had a really big party for him, and then I didn't stop. I remember going to Hossegor, then Lacanau, and I tried to compete, but I wasn't right, and then I came back to Hossegor, and that's when I buried my boards. Then I ended up in...
Maurice said that you didn't sleep for a few days in a row, surf all day or try to surf all day and party all night. And you just realized after a few days that just missed some sleep hours.
It's true. I mean, if anyone, doesn't sleep for a few days, you kind of go incoherent and it's not good for your mind. And I found out the hard way. I mean, people can, I've known some people, I won't mention any names, but and I've never done ice or crystal meth before, but people can stay up for like 10 days straight doing that stuff, but they lose their mind too. It's the body needs sleep, and I learnt the hard way. Lucky I made it through those hard times, and now, now I don't even drink alcohol now. It's been like 7 years I stopped drinking. So the partying's pretty much finished. I still might party a little bit here and there, just, but hardly ever. Yeah, but I don't drink, yeah.
Yeah, you look pretty in shape.
Thank you.
Do you follow a specific program to remain in shape?
When I stopped drinking, it was the best thing I done, because I struggled with that, like not early in my career, but, we used to have a good like when I was talking about my first time and in France and a contest every weekend, we would have a good drink after a win but my drinking wasn't a problem. But the older I got, then I'd also drink if I lost, because I felt shit. And I'd have a big drink, so I'd have a drink if I won, and even if I lost, I'd have a drink. So I'm pretty much always drinking.
No matter what, you have a drink.
So no matter what, and all of a sudden I'm drinking at home when there's nothing on, and it just happened too much. And I was making myself, it became an addiction. And so in my 40s, it got pretty bad, and I was feeling sick. I couldn't even hold food down really, because I was drinking so much, it was just go straight through me. And it was making me physically ill. Yeah. So I had to stop. And then you're crazy with the alcohol, your body just recovers. It takes time, 6 months, you start feeling pretty good. Your metabolism gets better, and then it just gets better and better, your clarity and even the colors in the sky and everything get brighter again, and you just feel better and better. And now I still, even year by year, it just gets better and better. And because I don't know, there's a lot of bad stuff in alcohol, and if you drink it a lot, it's almost poison, So
you still feel this recovering in this progression?
Yeah, even now I feel better all the time. I used to get sore back and like really a lot of pain in my lower back and that, and I don't really get that anymore. And my enjoyment for life is just so good. Like every morning I wake up, I feel great. I mean, yeah, and yeah, so it's a really good thing. I mean, I got nothing against people drinking. You know, my partner drinks and my son, you know, I don't mind them drinking. And, you know, I mean, but if you drink a lot like I did, you know, when you turn middle age, about 50 or something, you got to stop or you can't last. It's not sustainable. Yeah, you have to realize, you know, that you got to stop. So anyway, I had fun, but and I think I'm having more fun now because, you know, when you're drinking that night is really fun, you know, from whatever you start. I mean, used to be like, you know, you're starting at lunchtime, long lunch, and then you go drinking. And then that was my problem too, because when I was drinking, you know, if you're drinking all the time, like your body, you feel that weird in the morning, like you start drinking in the morning. It never stops, you know, but now I enjoy life so much because usually, you know, like you're drinking, you're having fun at night for a few hours, but next morning you're hungover. But it's only a few hours that you're having fun. But, you know, if you wake up early, you can have fun all day. You just got to, you know, you just go to sleep early. I still like going out. Like, I mean, like I say, I got nothing against drinking, but it just comes to a point when it comes about 10 o'clock at night when everyone's getting pretty drunk and they get really annoying. They start telling you how much they love you and they're talking to you so close in your ear, their spit's hitting your face and you're just like, I'm going home. Nothing, yeah, you know, the famous old saying, nothing good happens after what? 2 a.m, they say, or something like that. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And beside not drinking, like, do you do anything else, like to keep your surfing
that was
on top?
Question, yeah. I'm not a big runner. I like to keep really fit, but I used to like running. But for me to keep fit is just more floor work, and I don't go to the gym or anything. I just do it at home. Now that I'm older, I just like to do a lot of sit-ups. Can't really show my six-pack. I'm not after showing that, but it's to keep my back strong, you know. So like on a regular week, I'll start, and I do a lot of push-ups too. Like I'll do them together, kind of, and do stretching in between. I know yoga, and Shane Horan taught me yoga when I used to do the tour with him my first time around. So I mix in the yoga to like breath of fire to when I'm doing my sit-ups, and then I've got kind of made up my own routine. On Monday, I start with 100 and I do 100 more every day. By Friday, I do 500 sit-ups, and then I'm doing the same amount of push-ups, kind of, or maybe half, sorry, not that. So I start off on Monday light and I finish on Friday with max, and I have Saturday, Sunday off to give my body a bit of a rest. Not that it's a huge workout by any means, but I've just learned what works for me, you know, and then I've got that few yoga stretches that I do before every surf. And I feel like if I keep my core strong and it makes my back solid, keeps me surfing, you know, because I hate saying I'm 58 now. I'll be 59 this month, but I still feel like I feel like I'm still surfing really good. And I remember my friends telling me, don't stop, you know, like, because I've got a lot of friends that stopped and then they don't surf, and they were good surfers. And I don't want to be that because I love it so much. So I'm trying to just extend it. And that's what I do to keep my body right. So, yeah. And
surfing wise?
Yeah, like, surfing wise, I like to take my kids surfing a lot now, but if the waves are good, you know, can spend like 5 hours surfing.
Oh, still?
Yeah. I can surf for about that long, or I might have 2 surfs a day.
Like push-up, or like the
push-ups.
It's just to keep paddling and stay longer in the water.
And even, you know, like at my age, it's the toughest part is, and even for me, people mightn't might say no, but even just getting up, and I talk to people my age and people that even are not that good at surfers. They're maybe, pretty good, like not pros or anything, but they're pretty good surfers. And if they put on a bit of weight, they always say the hardest part is getting up to their feet.
Yeah. And even that you said, like the back and the flexibility on the back and the core strength to stand up.
I can relate to that because if I'm a bit stiff, I find it hard to get up. Once I'm on my feet, I can shuffle my feet on the right spot and surf really good. But if you can't get up, and the wave, sometimes it can be like embarrassing because your feet aren't in the right spot, and all of a sudden you're falling off and looking like a kook, let's say, and it happens to me, and so that's why I like to do that, like the push-ups and the sit-ups, and stay as flexible as possible. Like I used to love really early surfs because I love watching the sun come up, and I still do it a bit, but now that I'm a bit older, I like to kind of get going and move around for a couple of hours, and before I surf now, and I still do surf early sometimes, but if I have a long sleep, I can wake up stiff. If I like to, maybe not sleep for 8 hours and try and cut it down to about 6 or something, and then I stay a bit more flexible.
That's super interesting.
And so, as we mentioned, you're still surfing really good. Like your clip, your last clip is pretty relevant. Like, I mean, the backhand turn you do at Bells are still relevant. And out of all your movie parts you've done, what is your favorite one? Which one are you most proud of?
Yeah, well,
is that the last one or is that the first one?
I mean, the last one. For my age, and the feedback I got was really good, and but like I said earlier on in the on the podcast, that I felt like I could have been surfing better. I'm a bit critical of myself. I feel like I can surf better than that, but my favorite one is probably the at J Bay. I think. Jack shot it. It would have been the Billabong Challenge back then. We had a challenge at J Bay too, and it's in one of the movies of me surfing perfect J Bay, going really fast. It was probably the Billabong Challenge, I think. It's a good question because I've never really thought of that, where I felt like I surfed the best, and keep on thinking of Bells Beach, and but yeah, it's probably J Bay, I think. Yeah.
My favorite part of you is the hidden part in the green iguana.
Yeah.
Who is Sunny Garcia. The hidden part, like after the planets turns, there's the hidden part, and you're surfing a left-hander with
Sunny, and with Sunny. I think that was in the wind. Yeah.
That's my favorite part of you.
And definitely, that was my most memorable and probably my favorite, making that movie with Jack in Sumba, that really sticks out too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see in the video the amazing connection that you guys have in the water. We were talking about that is water cinematography, but it's amazing to see like how you guys just are so linked. The rhythm of the weight and just the turn just in front of the camera so close. And back in the day, like 40 years ago, with like film and not digital movies. So with all that implies involved, that's sick cinematography.
Yeah, no, and I was talking about working with Jack earlier, and we really, that was kind of the peak of our, filming and surfing career because, we were there by ourselves. There was no one else in the water, and it's one thing trying to hook up when it's a little crowded is tough, but when you've got a perfect wave to yourself, me and Jack, and never really happens. And it happened there in Sumba. They were just building the resort there, and I remember, the bungalows didn't even have walls on them yet, and it was the German guy Claude was building it, and he let us stay there. Jack was friends with him, and Claude surfed, used to surf it by himself, and he said, you got to come over. And we scored that really good swell. We were with Sonny Garcia. He came too, but he left before the swell came. Sonny.
Oh, so the part is not filmed at the same time, like the Sonny.
Yeah, same. Yeah, because Sonny, he was Sonny used to really like his big screen TV, his McDonald's, and he really liked all that stuff. And in Sumba, there was no TV, no McDonald's, nothing. Like we were catching our own food. We had to fish to catch. We had a lot of rice, but we had to fish to catch our food. And like Sonny was never a big drinker, but we didn't even have much beer. We used to there was a few cases of beer, and we had like 2 each a day, and but there was no one in the water, and me and Jack connected big time, and the footage is in the documentary. And was it in Green Iguana too?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that's that's the hidden part.
Yeah,
like in the movie, and then there's the
it's hidden. Yeah,
yeah, the credits, and then there's a hidden part with Concrete Blonde songs.
Concrete Blonde, yeah.
Which I found it funny, because to me that was
there's a piece. There's another piece of me, Concrete Blonde. I think it was in Pump. Remember the movie Pump? But that wasn't Jack's movie.
Yeah.
That was Greg Weaver's movie. And it was some people say that was their favorite, and it was at G-Land. And the movie was called Pump, and I don't know how you'd find that these days, but I think it was Concrete Blonde, the music, but it was a really good, everyone loved that. And anyway, I'm getting off the point there, but anyway.
I'm back to France. You said that back in the days, like the contest got like a 1 week waiting period, and in August we have like 3 contests in a row in Lacana, Osaka, and Biarritz. I think it's from 2002 that they changed the schedule, and there was the preference in the early October in Osaka, which was a totally different location and timing for a surf contest. And you were still in tour this time, because you left in 2007. Tell us about this change, and like about this particular contest, and what it represented for you guys on the tour.
Yeah, it was great, because my first time on tour, we always came in the middle of the summer, and then often the waves are small here, like they are in summertime. But when I came back and it was in Hossegor in October, it was totally different with a wet waiting period. I was really used to coming to France, and then, it was a lot different because, the holiday season was over, so there was not as many spectators, but the waves were pumping, and it was all time staying here in Hossegor, and it was just great, And then we also had the contest down in Mundaka too. So, So that was real special, and we had a lot of contests. Like Lacanau kind of dropped off, but then Hossegor, and we had the one in Biarritz, and then even the Billabong Pro was Anglet. Mundaka. So, I remember the year I won it. Started in Anglet, and we got down to the quarterfinals, and then there was a big swell coming. So we packed it up and went to Mundaka and had the final day there, and that was a great memory. Yeah.
And the crew changed, and like Paco and Handy, all those guys just came up, or were like at the top of the rankings too, especially Handy. Can you just tell us about the relation that you guys have and the souvenir you have, especially in France, maybe?
Yeah. Well, we we got really tight, Joel and Andy and myself. I was kind of the older guy, but Andy was on fire. I remember the final that he had with Bruce that year, and it was at Lenore, and it was like 10 feet, waves were pumping. That was an amazing final, but we went down to Mundaka a few times, scored it really good, and then we had some. Andy loved to party too, so, and Joel, and we had some really good times. Not just in France, all over the world. But you know, just to see those guys and see them, surf when it was big, especially, Andy and Bruce and, just in Tahiti for apparently. And in Tahiti, they were amazing. But, yeah, it was just we really had a tight circle, Joel, me, Andy, Bruce. Bruce, used to come and travel with me, because Bruce was pretty wild too. And that time on tour, I was married to a woman that kept me really stable. So Bruce came on tour and stayed with us, and got some good results. He was ripping, and but yeah, so Andy and Joel, they were probably my favorite times on tour. When those guys are on fire, and I was kind of in my decline. I'd won my world title and I left the tour in 2007. But those years from 2002 all the way to 2007 I didn't really care if I wasn't winning anymore. I was satisfied. I was happy. I'd won my world title, but just to see Andy win his and Joel win his. Because I still kind of went on tour with them, even though I was, retired in 2007. I still had some wild cards at the Billabong events, or at Chopu or Pipe or wherever it was, J-Bay. And then after that, I was commentating because, we ran our own broadcast. Before WSL, all the events we ran our own.
True. Yeah.
We ran our own broadcast, so we had our own team. So I was commentating, for Billabong in the events and. And at Chopu, for example, me, Joel, and Andy would stay in the same house every year, right at Chopu, and to see those guys win. I think Joel actually got second to Mick one year, but to see Andy win his last event there, I think Joel lost early, and we were also, I think Dusty Payne was in the event, good friend of Andy's, and Dusty lost early too, and it was just me and Andy left in the house. We had to wait for a swell. It was real small that year. And we waited to the last day of the waiting period. So me and Andy were just together for about a week by ourselves at the end of the road. Not much to do, but we were still partying. We had a good old time. And he just, he won. He didn't think he was going to win. He was not in his best shape, but we were having a good old time. And I remember in the final, I think it was against Kelly, maybe it was only 2-3 foot. And he, he could surf no matter what, like he could have a huge night and still be able to, if it's barreling, he could do it with his eyes closed. You know what I mean? Small or big. Didn't matter for Andy. Like he was that talented that he won the event then. This was only like a year or two before he passed away. And
I think this is the year he passed away, actually.
Yeah,
it
might have been the year,
yeah.
And well, it was super sad because that was my year. What year did you say it was?
2010.
10, yeah.
And I was there for this contest.
Yeah, you were there. Okay, yeah. So it was really sad because I was home and Joel rang me and at first I was worried because I was watching the contest in Puerto Rico and Andy didn't show up for his heat, and I knew Andy was kind of partying a lot, and I was like, oh no, I could imagine, I've never been to Puerto Rico, but I could imagine what's going down there. And I'm like, Joel didn't and then Joel rang me, said Andy's gone, and then I'll never forget where I was. I was at home near the pool and I felt like I was going to pass out. I had to sit down. But I was stoked to, be in Tahiti with him, see him win his last event. It was emotional for both of us. But, really, obviously we lost him way too early, But I got to hang out with Lindy just recently, and Bruce when I was in California just recently. So that was really cool. And Axel, his son, turned into a really good boy. He's a really good motocross rider, and he likes to surf a bit. And, he was giving me big hugs. Uncle, he's a real funny kid, so we hung out a bit, went to dinner, and, yeah, it was cool.
Now, on a just more surfing side, did you feel you played any role into those guys' world title?
Yeah, I think so, because sure.
Being an older brother.
Yeah. No, Andy definitely came to me asking, a lot of advice, and I'd like to calm Andy down. He used to get pretty antsy, like he just wanted to win, and like really wanted to beat Kelly, and really wanted to win, and often got angry, when he lost, and or even angry when he was winning, and I used to I think I played a good part in calming that down. He just surfed with a lot of passion, and on board size, and I was always there for him with some wax, and just kind of, especially in big waves, like he didn't need no coaching, he just kind of needed to settle him down, just going, don't charge so hard. You're going to, break your board or hurt yourself, like just try and don't go like 20 hours, like don't go the 10 footers so much, like try and preserve yourself, and he didn't really know how to do that. I remember it like at Pipeline one time, it must have been, I think it was before the Eddie ran. Pipeline was huge, and Andy used to we had the Billabong house, and it's right off the wall, and when it's huge, you don't paddle out there. You got to go around the long way around Pipe. But Andy was such a good paddler, and he liked to push the boundaries, and he'd ask me, one day it was huge. It was 10 to 15 feet. It was a pretty long period though, and Andy's like, can you time the sets for me? Or like tell me, because when you're down, on beach level, you can't quite see or, what's coming. He's like, just tell me when. And I'm like, nah, you're not going to paddle out there today. Like, no. He's like, yeah. He's like, just tell me when. I'm like, okay. And then Lindy's like, don't, Andy. Lindy's kind of crying, and oh, mate, he made it out just. And I remember Kobe Aberden tried to follow him and just absolutely got so pounded. They're the things Andy used to do. And this was, after a pretty late night too, and but then, I'll never forget, that was when the swell was coming up. Pipeline didn't run because the Eddie ran. And I think Bruce won. And but Andy, I remember, took the biggest wave that day in his first round. I think it was, how they have 2 rounds that morning. We were all standing at a house. Someone had a house, or someone knew someone that had the house right up on the that's looking closest to Waimea, kind of on the point there at Waimea. And I was with Lindy again and Joel and that, and just watching. The waves were so big. It was like 30 feet, closing out a lot. And the guys big sets were coming. The guys were like just packing it for the horizon. This one set was so huge. We saw it coming from so far away. The ocean went black, and it was a 30-foot set, maybe bigger, 35 foot, like for real, like, and I'll never forget Andy. Everyone is just scratching, trying to get over it. And Andy wasn't with them. He was sitting there like, and didn't really paddle. And I'm like, oh, he's going to go. And he flipped it and went the wave. And everyone said, Lindy was like, no. And everyone's like going, no. And he took it and he made the drop, but then just he got just blown up. Like, and he was fine though. He got back out there. I think the ski came, and I don't even know if they had skis back then actually, but
no skis, no vest.
No skis, no vest, no flotation vest. No way. No. But somehow survived it. He was crazy. Yeah.
And you just said that you've been like doing the commentary for the contest a few years ago, at the beginning of the streaming for Billabong. That led us to another thing that we wanted to talk about with you. We got a bit of pressure by receiving you because you've probably been like one of the, if not the most famous surf podcast host.
Oh, thank you.
With the Hogcast.
The Hogcast, yeah.
Yeah. How did the idea come up? Was it your idea?
Not my idea, no way. Billabong came up to me and, this was early podcast days.
Yeah.
There was not many people doing them. Maybe the guy Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I think he might have been doing it. Maybe, I'm not too sure, but I've never heard of podcasts. I'd never even heard of it. And they said, we want you to do podcasts. I was like, what's a podcast? And they explained it to me. And I was like, yeah, I do what I'm told, really. I wasn't that keen on doing it, but it was Billabong's idea. And so, yeah, the Hogcast was born. And, I'd done a lot of them, everyone from, Jerry Lopez to I'd done Iggy Pop.
We saw that, yeah.
I'd done a lot of famous people, and so I guess I was a bit before my time, really, because Billabong, they done it, filmed it really well, and edited it good, and even got footage. If you could, was it on YouTube or something?
Yeah.
So like they got footage of. I never watched them, or I've never listened to them.
Really?
It's pretty hard to listen to yourself.
I don't listen to myself, and even. If it's an interview or, it's not so much surfing. I don't mind watching myself surf, but I can't say I do it a lot. But definitely when I'm talking, I don't listen to it because I don't like the way I sound. And I think it's the same for a lot of people. I'll just do it. And, I don't care what happens after that. I don't really listen to it. But, yeah, so they had the footage that if people talked about a story way back in the day, Billabong would, find the footage somehow. So it was a package deal. And the Hogcast went great. I'd done about 30 of them. I think you can still listen to them.
More than 50, I think, on YouTube.
Oh, really? More than 50? Yeah. So, you can get back, I think, and watch them. There was even an app on the phone. I had my own tab, like the Hogcast, what do you call it, an app?
What do
you
An application,
yeah. So it was pretty big. But then COVID came. That's when it stopped. Because we couldn't do it during COVID. And then we tried to do some just on the phone.
Not the same, huh?
Not the same.
Yeah.
So people still ask me, so many people ask me, what happened to the Hogcast? And I haven't done it for years now. And I can't say that it's over. I don't think Billabong really will do it. I can't say they won't, but obviously there's other sponsors out there that aren't, surf related that could back it maybe. Like I say, what I'm trying to say is I'd probably need a sponsor to do it right because I don't want to just do it over the phone or do it, like your guys, you look like you've got a good setup going and but I don't listen to podcasts. I only listen to music. My partner, Jess, she listens to podcasts all the time when she's working and driving. I know a lot of people do. But I just, I'm too into my music. All I do is listen to music. So anyway, yeah.
And what is the most memorable interview you've done on the Hogcast?
Wow, that's a good one. Iggy Pop was interesting for sure because I'd never, I knew a couple of his songs, but I didn't know his history on how
punk he was.
Wild he was. Oh, my goodness. I watched an interview with him and a guy called Molly Meldrum in Australia, which was like we had a music show on mainstream TV and he was he interviewed all the best musicians from over the world, everyone from David Bowie to Prince, and the one he done with Iggy Pop was so high on LSD, I think it was, or I don't know what it was, but
pretty efficient one.
My goodness, I'd never seen anyone that crazy. And then I learned about how hard he hit the drugs, and now he's sober. Yeah, I interviewed him, and he'd been sober for a while. But he was lucky he made it through because I don't think anyone really, you know, he hit it one of the hardest, you know, I don't know. A lot of the musicians go big, but for him, you know, to hear his life story, it was pretty cool. Yeah. So, but, you know, Jerry Lopez was great. You know, I love doing Jack Johnson because, you know, I love his music too. But
what's the most views on YouTube? I get the answer,
you
but
can tell because I don't. That's one thing I don't do is like, you know, on Instagram, I don't read comments or I don't look at views. That's just something I don't do.
Well, the most views on YouTube is the one with Kelly.
Kelly,
yeah.
And I loved doing Kelly. Kelly was great for him to take the time. Because I know how busy he is and he's such a legend. Like, you know, I can't believe it. I was watching him compete at Trestles last night and I was like, you know, I probably think he should just leave the competing now to Pipeline and Chopu because he in smaller ways, I don't think he should be doing that anymore. But he's such a legend, like far out. To do him and, you know, John and all the best surfers to take the time to do it with me, I felt very honoured for that because I still didn't get Steph though. Stephanie Gilmore eluded me.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was my own fault though because one time I remember I was in Tahiti and I got a call from Steph and she wanted me to do something for her and I kind of forgot about it. And so when I asked her, she's like, no, I'm a bit too busy, but where it was like a bit of tit for tat, but no, I'm great friends with Steph, and if I ever get to do a podcast again, she'll be the first one I do.
Yeah.
I reckon.
And what was the most difficult one to run?
Oh, difficult! Yeah, wow, there was a difficult one. I reckon it was Christian Fletcher.
Can you imagine? I would have bet on that one.
Yeah, you could have bet. Yeah, it would have been paying short. You wouldn't have got much money for your bet. He was wild, and I had to do an activity with everyone. So with Jerry, he made me do yoga because he's such a guru at that. Tom Curran, we asked them all what they love to do apart from surfing. Tom Curran said, let's go roller skating. So I roller skated with Tom Curran. Taj, I think I jumped out of a plane with Taj. But Christian Fletcher, I said, what do you want to do with me? He's like, I want you to get on the back of my Harley. I was like, oh, no, because he's crazy. And I'm like, great.
And he's not sober.
And no, he was kind of sober by that stage, yeah. No way I would have done it if he wasn't. No, but still pretty crazy, right? And then we went on the freeway for a little while because we wanted to get down to the surf. And then I was like, don't go on the freeway. He's like, oh, we're just going to go on the freeway. We'll take the next exit. And he went so fast and I was so scared, like, no, just hanging on. And I was on the littlest seat. Yeah, but yeah, Christian he was a classic. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that you're really successful with recently is your board model with JS.
Yeah.
The Raging Bull. I think that's a really good board because like there's many of kind of aging surfers that still want to rip and that fills that bracket. Like how did that comes from the concept and everything?
Yeah, well I you know, I decided to do the Raging Bull. It's been a while now, but we really got a board dialed. Like you know, I used to surf a Rod Dahlberg and I always wanted the same off him and I never wanted him to change. You know, like shapers often give you something different a lot, you know, to see if it's better or, you know, often sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But I didn't like that. I just wanted to get the same all the time. And I like the thickness to be I've always liked thick boards and I like the thickness to go right through up to the nose. You know, I don't like them when they thin the nose out too much. I like the thickness to stay even. So what you get on the board is you're always getting the same feel. It goes through flat sections really well, and it never does a weird turn, and it's always that round pintail. Like for me, you know, I didn't ride square tails much, but when I did, you know, sometimes they'd slide out, sometimes they would do different things, but I always wanted the same turn so I could get really good rhythm going on the waves. And and they paddled really well. I like that part of it. But so that board, it was based on that. I was like, Jason's like, let's just do the model. Let's make it a raging bull, and it's the same. They're all going to be round pins. They're going to be thick. I mean, thicker than the regular, people's boards. And like, that's why I think the older guys like them. They're beefy boards. They've got the thickness right through. But he's, the way he's worked out the curve, and I'm not a board specialist when it comes to like curve or rocker, but he got that so dialed. And the boards, they go that good. I mean, I can't, I've surfed other boards and I can't find a board that goes better than that. Like, and I get the same from the average surfer that surfs pretty good. Will come up to me saying that's the best board I've got, and they like to shop around, like the average surfer. They're not sponsored, so they can go to any shaper, and a lot of guys do. They try a lot of different boards, and they always say that Raging Bull's the best, and especially in good waves. I can surf my Raging Bull in bad waves too, and it still feels better than a fun board, which I don't, I don't experiment too much with 20s and that. JS likes me too because which brings me to the new model that's coming out called the Bull Run, and it has got a bit of a wider nose. It's still pretty thick and it hasn't got much rocker, but he said, it's just, just ride this. I think you might like it in small waves. And I fell in love with it. It's kind of got like I say, it's not completely round nose, but it's got a lot of area, like a mid-length,
Okay.
But it's not a mid-length. It's 6'1", and it's got the same tail as a Raging Bull, and it's a thruster. Like, I've been riding it now for a while. I can even ride it in waves 4 to 5 foot max still, and the board goes that good. It's coming out in September, but I said to JS, I'm like, that is the best fun board I've had by miles. Like, he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, if I was back on tour, I would be riding that board in heats for sure because, I can get up on it and I don't have to pump for speed. It just goes that fast just standing there, and I can draw out the longest bottom turn. And I've seen a bit of footage and it just looks like it's going extra fast. And people come up to me going, what is that? Is that a twin fin or a 4-fin? And I'm like, no, this is a thruster. And they're like, you serious? And the board goes amazing. Like, it's it's like I say, I can ride it in pretty good waves, and it was meant for small waves, but in small waves it's amazing. Like, I won't ride anything else now. So just
basically you have that board for small wave and the Raging Bull for better waves.
For good waves, yeah.
And can you say the name again of the? Hey, can you say the name again of the upcoming?
The Bull Run, it's called.
Okay.
So it's going to be, like, I like to ride my Raging Bulls typically like 6'3", is my size. But, everyone for the last few years, due to Kelly getting really short boards, went down a couple of inches. Kelly rides them 5, 8 or 10, which I can't surf boards that small. I can't go under 6'0". But so for me, it's a 6'1" instead of a 6'3". Like, I can ride 6'2s now, no problem. But the Bull Run would be, for an average guy, would be a 6'0", I guess, or a 6'1", maybe even 5'11", but if you're shorter. But I'm 5'9", so I'm riding it as a 6'1", and it is, it just makes surfing that much fun because when the waves are small, you're flying. And it's not, if you don't like twin fins, which I typically don't, this board is magic. Yeah. So I'm really excited about it. Yeah. JS, when I picked it up, I was like, I'm not going to like this board because I don't like, round noses and like mid-length. But it's not completely round. It has got a bit of a pin nose, and it actually has got a pin line on it. So with the pin line, that makes it look not as wide of a nose, but it paddles so good because it's got all that area in the nose too, and you can catch waves that you would be missing normally. So it's got a lot of benefits to this board for the average guy that just wants to catch more waves and feel like they're surfing faster. This board, the Bull Run's going to be their board for sure.
And do you know, like, if commercially your models are selling well?
Yeah, well, the Regime Bull has been selling well for years now. Like the royalty checks have been coming through. Like JS, when JS first said, I'm going to do a model, the Raging Bull, I was stoked. And JS is like, mate, you got to feed your family. Like I got 9 kids. I mean, between my partner and me, you know, I've got 4 boys. But when I met Jess, she had 5 kids and we had 2 together. So that's 9 in total. And JS is just laughing at me, going, mate, we got to get you some more money to feed the family. And I'm like, yes, yes. I'm like, you're right. And that's where the Raging Bull, you know, came about. Yeah. So, it's been selling well for years, and the royalties are great. I appreciate everyone buying them. Like, especially, you know, guys that are kind of my height or taller and my weight, you know, that weigh a bit heavier and want a board that's just going to be really good in good waves and not do anything weird, you know, and always, you know, like, especially if you're taking off late, pulling in the barrel or doing those turns where you want to be trusting the board. It's a very trustworthy board, yeah.
And you're part of that really small club of surfers that really drive sales for a shaper. Like when you were at Rusty, basically Rusty exploded with your board, and then you kind of put, like, maybe not in Australia, but for us in Europe, you put Dalberg on the map, on the shaping map, and then you moved to JS. Like, what led to those changes in your career?
Yeah, well, you know, Rusty, you know, made me the best board at that time. That, you know, like, nothing against my shaper back then, Jim Banks. You know, he was a really good big wave rider, and he shaped good boards, but they were nothing like the Rusty that I got when I got to America. That's when my surfing changed, and it was one of those boards I'm talking about. It had thick, big boxy rails. You know, that's what we transferred to Rod. I said, you know, I wanted boards like that, so he kind of copied that. It's always been that thick rail, boxy right through, and with hard edge at the back. But yeah, like you know, then Rod Dahlberg, you know, we got big together, and Rusty too, yeah. But I mean, JS was already big. I mean, Joel and JS had the relationship before I got to them, and Joel and JS, yeah, that's where they got massive. I just kind of added a bit of flavour to it, I guess. But now JS has taken over the world now. He's got so many guys on tour riding his boards, and he's even been on tour lately himself, like, which is rare for JS. JS doesn't like leaving home too much, and when he followed the Aussie leg and he's been, you know, traveling a bit, you know, and shaping all these guys, he's almost too busy to make me boards, which is not good. But he's super busy. It's good to see, and good to see the guys on tour ripping on the boards, you know, and so JS is in a good spot.
And just come close to the end of the show. You're just here for a few days, and then you're gonna spend some time in Mundaka to celebrate the 40 years of the Mundaka surf shop. You have definitely a special story with this wave and the crew over there.
Yeah, and apparently, like, I can't believe it. I mean, I don't know when you guys had your last swell, but apparently, you know, it's going to be 40 years. Craig Sage has been a really good friend of mine. I spoke to him yesterday, like, you know, one of my good mates, and he's a legend. And when we first ever went to Mundaka, I'll never forget it. And every time I've been there, I always surf with him. And he already had the surf shop there. So, yeah. And his wife, Itchy, yeah, like, they've been together a long time. And so to be going back to the 40-year anniversary of that, because I've been with Billabong about that long, maybe about 44 years. So about the first time I went there, spent a lot of time in that town and got a lot of, you know, he's my best friend from there, but there's you know, a lot of Basque friends I've got down there too. And the energy has brought a swell somehow. So I'm going to go back. It's like an anniversary for me because it's been a long time. I went there with my partner maybe 10 years ago, and we had a little surf at Moondaka. But this time, you know, to celebrate the shop, you know, an iconic surf shop there at Moondaka, and there's going to be a swell coming right on Friday and Saturday when we're there. So there should be waves. I can't wait. I'm really excited to see him and see all the crew down there and surf with some of the locals there and hopefully we do some regulation at the lineup. They do, and I get a couple waves.
And apparently the bank is really good.
Apparently there's a lot of sand.
This winter was really good for Moondaka.
Oh, was it? Did you have a swell not so long ago?
All winter was pumping there. Oh, yeah. Even like it was working like really small.
Really small, yeah.
And big as well.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Cool.
I think they scored a lot this winter.
That's great. Yeah, I think the ocean, you know, when you go somewhere and you get a swell, it seems like someone's doing something right, and it feels like that, yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good luck with all your podcasts in the future.
Thank you, and thanks so much for your time. No problem. Enjoy your few days here and the rest of the tour in Europe.
Thank everyone to all the fans here in Europe, and great to be back.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
And don't forget,
go surfing. Allez surfer.
Absolutely, go get out there.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
De rien.